Good morning. We are still in the EWG and LEM studio here in George, and we're engaging with different delegates in the plenary. And this morning, we are pleased to have our president of IOE, International Organization of Employers, Ms. Jacqueline Mugo, who's going to engage with us. Good morning and welcome, President, to our studio, which is really looking and talking to delegates in terms of their engagement, their participation in the LAM, Labour and Employment Ministers meeting. You may greet our audience as well and indicate who you are as well.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Mugo. I am the president of the International Organization of Employers, commonly known as IOE, and it's a great pleasure for me to have opportunity to do this interview.
Thank you very much and welcome. We just have a few questions really in a conversation mode. Firstly, we would like to know from yourself as to why IOE engagement, especially in the G20 environment. Since we've started, we are president as South Africa. What are the key messages that have been conveyed to Labour and Employment Ministers, specifically by IOE?
It's very important for the International Organization of Employers to be engaged in this conversation in the B20 meeting, because we are the voice of employers in the world, bringing together over 150 organizations. And for business, the discussion that is going on is crucial to the role that we play globally, because the key objective that the IOE has is to get the voice of employers heard, but also to influence the climate in which business is done. The topics which are being discussed are therefore very important for us to have that opportunity to engage and to play back to governments and the trade unions and all the other development partners the key challenges that are facing business right now and the opportunities we see for us to work together to address issues particularly that impact the African continent.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for those inputs. Obviously, there are B20 task force priorities. Can you take us through which those are actually aligned with the G20 processes, specifically when you talk to IOE agenda, how are those being promoted and how do they synergize with the G20 discussions?
For us at the IOE level, one of the most important task forces and conversation is that which is looking at education and employment, because that's a big issue. If you look at the developing world and Africa in particular, that's a very, very big issue for us right now, because we've been talking for a long time about the disconnect between the needs of industry in terms of skills and what is happening in the classroom. And employment is also a big challenge, not just for Africa, but for the developing world. So we see it as a way of bridging that gap and bringing to the table our perspective as employers on what needs to be done to enhance employment. And for that to happen, we need to make it possible for business to do business, to create a friendly environment, and to address the issues that are holding business back. We have a very large number of youth that don't have jobs, almost all over Africa. And so it's important to address that, to see how we can support enterprises to grow, to be sustainable, to create the jobs that we need, because it is business that creates jobs. But we can only do that if the environment is positive. We have a lot of regulatory challenges, we have a lot of policies that are making it difficult. There is resistance about productivity. And those are important conversations for us to have so that we can have skills that are aligned not just to the present needs of businesses, but to the future as well.
Oh, absolutely. And obviously the world of work needs skills. And for us to grow our economy, we need people to be employed, right? And the future of work as well is upon us. Things are changing, mechanization, fourth industrial revolution, and all that. In terms of employment, skills, and social dialogue, is B20 pushing those? Is this part of the central discussion in G20? Is that something that you're talking to?
Yes, the whole issue about skills and the skills mismatch, AI, and the impact is going to have and is already having in the world of work are very important conversations that we have ensured as the IOE are mainstreamed into these conversations. So skills is one of the areas where IOE has made a great contribution, and we bring the voice of businesses on the ground. The IOE is also working with bodies such as the Business Africa Employers Confederation, which is the employers body on the African continent. And I happen not just to be the president of the IOE, but also the Secretary General of Business Africa, to understand on the ground what the challenges are. On artificial intelligence, we've been working to demystify the fear that AI is going to take over jobs, is going to reduce salaries, because we see it as an opportunity. And what we need to discuss is how to prepare better for the change that is already happening, for Africa to be able to take advantage of AI to enhance the performance of our enterprises and to scale up our youth to take up these tech-related jobs in a way that enhances their contribution to national development.
No, absolutely. Now, in the context of B20 and South Africa, what would you say is the role of IOE in terms of amplifying the voices of specifically employers as well as developing economies? What are the punchlines? What are you pushing? What are you saying in terms of this as IOE?
First, we want to commend South Africa for the great work they've done in pulling off the G20, B20 meeting this year. A great job has been done. Part of the group that has been working towards that is BUSA, which is a member of the IOE. The IOE has been very engaged in the process as well from Geneva to have an input into the outcome, and we will be having a joint statement today coming out of the meeting that has happened. So we remain engaged, and we're very grateful that business has been recognized as a key contributor to the process. The IOE has been involved in previous editions of this kind of meeting, so we're very happy that there is social dialogue. Of course, there's some challenges, differences of opinion, but we have been at the table at the IOE, and we are very grateful to our member, Business Unity South Africa, for the role that they have played and ensure that the IOE and other social partners are engaged throughout the process to address these issues. And the conversation will continue about how to enhance solidarity, how to realize equality and sustainability of enterprises, which for us is a very important conversation.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And you're talking issues relating to social dialogue. And I just thought of NEDLAC as a structure, for example, international organization in Geneva, ILO. Now, in terms of business involvement in those kind of discussions, especially on issues that has got both a social and economic factor, what is the posture of business insofar those kind of social dialogues are concerned?
Business, under the leadership of the IOE, is an integral part of these conversations. You mentioned NEDLAC. We have visited NEDLAC several times as business, particularly from the African continent, to learn from them, because you have a very good example there of how business, trade unions and government collaborate together to craft a future that involves all voices. So we learn from best practices in different parts of the world, and South Africa has taken a good lead in that conversation. As the IOE, we work alongside trade unions and governments. We get involved in all the task forces of the B20 and G20 meetings to ensure that the voice of business is heard, and we bring together all the employers' federations in different parts of the world to these conversations. So you'll find that ahead of the culmination of the meeting we are having now, there have been various task forces, and we appointed key business leaders to take part in those conversations based on their area of expertise to bring the voice of business to the conversation and influence the final outcome.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the president of IOE, Ms. Jacqueline Mugo. Thank you so much for being with us. It has been quite a pleasure. We've learned a lot from this conversation, and I hope South Africa and the world have heard and they will take heed and internalize the information that we've imparted to us. That brings us to the end of this beautiful conversation, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me, and it's been a great pleasure to exchange ideas with you.
Thank you very much.